Hey, friends, welcome back to the Do Cool Shit podcast. I'm really excited today because I have an amazing guest, Bahia Miller. Welcome, Bahia,
Thank
to the
you.
show.
Thank you. It's so good to be here, Meryl.
We have been chatting about doing something together for a while. We actually grew up together and then kind of reconnected through social media, interwebs, whatever recently, and we're like, oh, we should get together because the work that we're each doing is really uh g- interconnected in so many ways. And so I'm really excited to have you here and just have you share more about your journey and your story and just what you do and how you support people.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, like it's amazing how these things come full circle. We weren't even that close in high school, right? But then we ran into each other at the reunion, which is like a whole thing, high school reunions. Not sure how I feel
Yes.
about that. But I have so much respect for what you're creating, like to get to witness it just on the online space. Yeah, we're doing it. We're out there.
We're doing it. I
We're
know we
doing
were just talking about before how entrepreneurship and creating your own business, especially in these spaces, is so awesome and a lot more.
it. Awesome and more. Yes.
Awesome and more. So I'm just gonna let you kind of share your story, how you kind of got to where you are here. You can start at whatever point you want to, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, great. Where to begin? Well, I'll begin at the end, right? Right now, I'll just introduce kind of what I do is that I am a certified internal family systems practitioner and conscious relationship coach. So I'm helping people work on their relationship with themselves and then in intimate partnership or relationship with anyone for that matter. And I got here through my own journey and my own pain. And, it actually goes back to high school, Meryl. It goes back to high school.
What does it?
I mean, it goes back probably before that, honestly. But I got my heart broken. I started drinking. I went down the path, trying to make myself feel better, not having tools and skills. And I was able to hold my life together to a certain degree. And then around 25, it was a mess. It was a mess. Alcoholism had been a legacy gift, legacy burden. They call it in the IFS world in my family. And so I kind of I went to a few AA meetings. I read Codependency No More. And I was like, okay, okay. I see some through lines here. And I got sober. And, I was already into yoga at that point. I'm a yoga teacher. And so the spiritual component of the 12 steps really spoke to me. And then I just kind of fell in love with personal development work and spirituality. Um, the 12 steps are a big part of who I am today because it offers this framework for repair,
Mm.
for repair within ourselves, right? To reconcile the things that we've done and the ways that we've abandoned ourselves or, hurt other people. And, we have to do that kind of self forgiveness and compassion before we can actually do this whole amends process. If you're familiar with 12-step people or if anyone's ever made an amends to you, right? Like to come and say, I want to make right the harms that I've done. So
Mm.
that journey taught me a lot about repair and about relationships and about what was possible in relationship. And, from there, it all just kind of kept unfolding. Say about that, right? I was teaching yoga. I was a massage therapist. I love the wisdom of the body, right? Like I'm sure that there's some pieces with your work around
Yeah.
the intelligence of our body and listening, slowing down to listen to our body. And a big way that I connect with these parts of me, right? Like the internal family system thing with parts is I slow down and turn myself inward and I can kind of feel like, oh, what does that anxiety feel like? Where is it in my body? And like, can I get some space from it and listen to it? And so, anyways, this kind of like meditative slowing down. So, wisdom of the body. And then I was a birth doula, which is like, oh, so fun and crazy and wild and, a ceremony of like bringing life through. And that was a gift to see the formation of families and people stepping into parenthood and then doing that myself. And then this
Mhm.
IFS training and relationship coaching just all kind of felt like the natural expression, like the continuation of the work. So I'm really just kind of riding riding the wave, riding the coattails of the universe. Like it's taking me to these places and um I have the greatest time like working with couples who are just really struggling in patterns that they're stuck in because it's until we know how to put those pieces together and really understand what's going on, it's kind of mystifying. Um, and it can get better. And so it's really fun to watch people do things differently.
Oh my god, so
That's
fun.
that's the gist. That's
I
me.
love it. Oh my gosh. I'm like, where do I start when we go off of that? Well, okay, I'm curious for you where you said you were about 25 and you kind of were like, okay, things maybe feel a little bit like a shit show. Was there like a big moment for you or was there a compilation of a lot of moments? What kind of propelled you into change? And what were kind of those first steps and change that you made and what were you feeling when you started to make change?
Oh my gosh, this is such a great question. I'm going to get emotional just like thinking back on that version of myself. I can like see the apartment I was living in with the boyfriend I had who was also an alcoholic, right? And we were both like pursuing acting in Los Angeles. Loved him so much. I still have, deep care for this person. You know, like we were both just like trying so hard to be good, be good to each other, be good to ourselves. And I was depressed and it was dramatic and chaotic. We were both kind of wild. And, I really wanted him to get sober, right? So I was trying to get him sober. And that's why, I was reading this book, Codependency No More. Like two or three people told me to read the book, and I was like, I guess I got to read it, right?
A lot
And
of recommendations, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's enough of the same. When the universe sends you that many signs, read the damn book. Right? So, Codependency No More, right, is all about, like, looking at yourself, and I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm gonna get sober because that's gonna get him sober." And, it it did eventually, but we were not together anymore. I don't know if me getting sober made him get sober, but we were part of each other's journey, and I was depressed. I was, like, just I knew inside of me that there was this dream and a desire. Like there was this potential, like a seed of like, right, they say in 12 step, like a mustard seed of hope. There was this
Mm,
seed of like, I want to live this big, beautiful life. I want to have like that dream, like that partnership, like great work that feels beautiful. I want to live somewhere great. And I wanted, in a way, the life I have now. But I was not seeing that. And
yeah.
I was not like in any kind of good habits. There was no habit stacking. The habit stacking was like drink some wine after work and get high. That was the habit
Right.
stacking. And so when I took those away, right, there was more depression. There was more like it was dark for like a year even after getting sober. And I had people around me then. I had people and that was enough to kind of carry me through. Um, but there were days like it was like, just put your feet on the floor. Just put your feet on the floor. Just put your feet on the floor. you know?
Mhm.
And yeah, and it was dark. And I'm so grateful that she put her feet on the floor and just, this was before COVID, and like it's like just get to a meeting.
Mm.
Um, and it all kind of evolved from there. Yeah. Have you had a dark night of the soul moment?
Oh, yeah. I feel like you have like that's a conversation I have a lot with people is when you want change and when you want different for yourself, that comes with a lot of quote unquote hard shit, uncomfortable. I don't like to think of things as like bad or good because they're purposeful and you can't have one without the other. I think they help expand our edges and our capability. And well, it's so funny you would talk about relationship with alcohol because I'm not sober, but I have very vastly changed my relationship with alcohol, and I was using that as um kind of like a masking, mechanism for a really long time, and changing that and like facing these things, these parts was like, oh my God, there's some like really, really uncomfortable things behind it uh that are hard to sit in and also very worthwhile to sit in.
Mm. It's amazing that you could do that and knew to kind of address that, right? And like to look at that, and sitting in discomfort is an expander. And like, oof, right? In IFS, in internal family systems, they call like the self-soothing parts, like the things that we do, right? Whether it's food, alcohol, TV, they call those our firefighters. And those are meant to kind of like douse the pain of our exiles, which are kind of like the repressed feelings, like our insecurities, feeling not good enough, whatever it is. Um, and so I don't know if it was that for you, but just to kind of share a little bit about, the
Oh
different parts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what like I mean, a lot of people I work with, they'll use alcohol, they'll use food a lot of the time, like shopping, it's like all kinds of things. And a lot of it's like very normalized too. There's nothing wrong about it. It's just recognizing like when things are serving you and when they're not serving you, when they're adding to your life, when they're in alignment. And I also want to say that like I say this in like it sounded like, oh, it was just this thing I did. This is like a decade and ongoing of work because it's still work that I do every single day. Like you never arrive
Mm,
somewhere, right?
yeah. Thanks for clarifying that
Yeah.
for whoever's listening, right? Like, it's a long game, baby. We're playing the long game.
Yeah, we're in that's a misconception. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, I did the work and like I'm here and I shouldn't feel these things anymore." And it's like, "Nah, bro. Sorry. You're in it now and like now you have lots of skills and tools to feel these things and respond differently."
Once you start facing your shit, you just can't, it's hard to turn away and like not live that way anymore.
Yeah. So, like skills and tools that let's talk about like cuz as we just said, we're still living, still doing work in these areas every single day. So what are some skills and tools that quality values that you lean into personally?
Well, let's see. I mean, what do I want to say here? So, with the internal family systems thing, I've kind of been on using that modality within myself for almost, I guess it's about 10 years now, a little more than 10 years. And so that's about kind of building this relationship with different parts of ourselves. So, one of the tools and ways that I do that, right, is like I actually, when I'm feeling overwhelmed or like there's a lot going on, is I like sit down and I draw this map where I put like a little bee with a heart in the middle and then I draw all these lines off of it. And I'm like, okay, there's like my work parts, there's my mothering parts, there's, the part that wants to plan a vacation, there's the part that's feeling bad about this thing I said and probably needs to go repair that. There's right. And so like just being able to lay it all out and externalize it so it's not just like living in my head. It's kind of like a to-do list, but not, right? Like
Mhm.
in that relief that a to-do list like brain dumping does, that helps me kind of slow down and be with the different aspects of myself because we're complex. Like there's a lot to hold as a human being, right? For some of us, maybe resonate with that more than others. But so I make a lot of parts maps, and I feel like my life is just like I've got decks over here and my meditation practice comes and goes, right? Meditation, I don't know what your stance is with meditation, but that can be when I'm in the zone meditating. I actually like love going to the Dharma Center in Cambridge, the Buddhist center. They have these like amazing talks, and sitting in a room with other people and meditating like for 45 minutes is like, oh, it's hard to do that as a mom. But
Right.
like when I can do it once in a while, it's like, oh, and yoga. And it's funny that we're talking because exercise has been something I've had very exercise averse parts. Like I
Yeah.
was, I played field hockey, I did track, whatever. I like showed up for that stuff when I lived at home. But the second I left, it was like, I'm going to party. I'm going to like do some yoga. Like that's about the extent of it. And it's been a journey to find my way into physical exercise in a consistent way. And I'm kind of like on the upswing right now. I'm not doing CrossFit or anything like that. But I got some dumbbells and I'm like working out like 3 days a week for like the last 2 months, which is big for me.
That's
I
awesome.
think it's making a difference.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so I'm curious with I wanna talk more about parts 'cause and I love the part mapping. I have never done things in that way before, and I love that, and I love the IFS of, like, breaking yourself into parts, and there's, like, all of these parts that make up us. It's not just, like, us. It creates more clarity, and it creates a little bit more understanding in our complexities. So I'd love for you to talk about that, but first I'm gonna ask you about shifting your I'm gonna call it relationship with exercise. Do you feel like there was, like, rebellion or what, when
This has been brutal for me. This has been like years of
Yeah.
trying one thing, trying something else. It works until I get my period and then it falls away and like
Mhm,
hard to get back on. And I don't like what I don't know what made it click differently
mhm,
this time. I think there were like different goals that I had in my life. And I was just intuitively, I was like, I need to move my body different. I need to like push myself. I need to get uncomfortable, like
mhm,
in a different way so that I can stretch myself in another way.
mhm.
And so it's kind of like when I exercise now, I'm like anchoring in and like manifesting and I'm listening to things that like, light me up. And I'm just like, I'm building something and I'm going to start in my body. And even if that's like all it does for me, it's great. It's working
Yeah,
great.
I love that. Well, it sounds like you're exercising in a way that aligns with things that fuel you and push you instead of maybe looking at it as something that someone was telling you you needed to do in a certain way. It wasn't what worked for you in the past. So I'm glad you have found something that's working for you now.
Thank you. But yeah, I definitely my exercise averse parts, like I almost like don't even want to say it because I'm like, this is so embarrassing. But I have a part of me that is and and this is like really deep and weird, but let's just go there, right?
Yeah.
Um there's a part of me that is scared to use up my energy.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know about this? Is this a thing? Because I've never talked about it with anyone before.
This is I've had this conversation or I've had similar conversations before.
Like, there's a wisdom in, like, okay, I want longevity, I wanna be kind to my body, I want my body to work well for my life, like, I don't want to abuse my body, like, my husband's had shoulder, labral, I don't know, hip
Oh,
surgery,
yeah.
shoulder he's, like, done martial arts and Krav Maga and like, he's not abused his body, but he has worked his tennis player, like, there's a lot of sports injuries, and I'm like, "I don't want that, I want these bones and the fascia to be in good shape for the whole journey," and, we're all gonna fall apart and anyways down the road. But yeah, this part that's been like it's scarcity, right? And this is kind of some of the deeper pieces that I've been like looking at lately. There's like a part that was scared, had energy scarcity and time scarcity. Like it didn't see the value of slowing
Mhm.
down for 45 minutes, whatever. Um, and so really just like I've been sitting with that like since it came into crystallization, like, for a while and, tracing it down to, like, fear of death and, like, all these deep, like, places that it goes to. Um, but I just, for whatever reason, it stopped stopping me. This part just kind of, like, softened and was like, "It's okay now." Like, let's live a little. It's okay. I found a way, like you said, to exercise that does feel in alignment. It's
Mhm.
more than a yoga practice because yoga has served me so deeply over the years, and I know that it will again, but, like, I just needed a little something different to stretch my neural pathways or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes, this is something that comes up often for people is like, well, it's like the reason why we do anything is because we see it as worth it, and it's a big, big blocker for people is, like, they don't feel like it's worth it, and with their resources, time, energy, money, like, those are the big things. So this is this is a conversation, and there's never, like, one answer for anybody here, so I'm not gonna say answers, sorry, listeners. But this is something to explore for sure because it is, and it can be a big blocker for so many people. And it's figuring out like how do I make this feel worth it to me? And I think a lot of that just comes from practice and like figuring it out through trial and error. The error has to be part of it.
Yes. 100%. 100%. And the more my husband would tell me I needed to exercise, the more I
Oh,
didn't wanna exercise.
no.
Of course it was
Yeah,
great, but, like, no.
yeah, that's like that toddler, the like little baby's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't tell me what to do.
I still have that part of me, and it is not great for my relationship, let's be real. But
Yeah. So will you talk a little bit more about parts and maybe how you or people like listening can kind of start to discover the different parts of them?
people experience their parts in lots of different ways, right? Like I mentioned before, I kind of have this like somatic orientation that works really well for me. Like I can feel body sensations and I also have like a visualization component. Like I don't and I remember in the beginning of this work being like, I think there's a part of me that feels scared about blah blah blah. Like, am I just making this up in my head? And it's like, I don't ask that anymore. I just like let myself go with it. Even if
Mhm.
it, looks like Mickey Mouse, like, however the part shows up, right? I'm just like, I'm gonna just go with it and get to know the part in this way. Some people kind of hear the parts, like, as thoughts. Some people do like to, like, draw them or externalize them. Some people just wanna kind of speak, like, "There's this part of me that's doesn't wanna exercise, and I don't know, she just doesn't wanna get out of bed," and, it's kind of like a narration. You know, when we get a lot of parts kind of globbed on us or like they're all mixed up, we can have that experience of being overwhelmed or being they call it in IFS
Mm.
really blended with the parts. D the other the thing that we wanna unblend from is not just the parts, but there's this premise, right, which I think aligns with a lot of, like, shamanic traditions or healing modalities, like, that inside of all of us, there's this thing called self-energy is what they define it as. But really that is, like, our core, curiosity, compassion, calm, connection, they have all these C words, creativity, and, that is like the kind of the essence of who we are. That's like the background, actual thing underneath that can never be broken, no matter how many coping mechanism parts or self soothing parts or inner child parts of us. Like deep within, we have this connection to, you can call it our higher self, to spirit of the universe, whatever works for you. And yeah, it takes, some creativity to like to sit with someone and kind of, what do you notice is happening inside of you, right? Oh, I'm just like noticing that I don't really want to be here right now at the beginning of a session, right? Okay, can we slow down with that? Can we just be with that? So there's like a mindfulness component of this.
Mhm.
There's this invitation to just like come in with yourself in the present moment, like what's going on right here, right now. Of course, we can talk about parts that show up in a certain situation, right? Like my fear of speaking part that gets really, right? I can connect with that if I just imagine it. Um, and, you know, what else? Like, one of the first like kind of life coaching skills that I learned, and maybe you know this one, right? It's like about making a gap map. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. Mhm.
Right. So it's like, here's the thing I want, like the dream vision of my life. And like, what are the things that get in the way? Right.
Uh,
It's like, I don't want to work out. I get defensive, right? Like there's a defensive part. There's a part that doesn't want to work out. There's a part that doesn't believe I'm good enough. There's imposter syndrome. So all of these things that get in the way, we can orient towards those as parts. And then
mm.
we kind of pull them apart. Ugh. So many times. But when you can slow down and be with them one at a time and like actually tune in and listen, unblend consciously. There's like a process for unblending. I have this actual unblending meditation on my website that I'll send you the link if you want to put it in the show
Yeah,
notes or whatever.
absolutely.
It's like bahiamiller.com/unblend. And it helps you get some space between your self energy and the part so that you can like listen to how is this part trying to serve me? Right? Like, where did you come from? How old are you? Do you know that I'm here too? Like me, adult, 38 years old, wise, available. And then it's about healing that relationship between those parts in ourselves. Cause oftentimes they think that we're alone, they're alone, and they have to run the show. Well, these parts kind of have developed from, experiences that we've had over our lives, right? There's like the firefighters I mentioned before, those kind of self soothing, and those can be like really extreme, like addiction. Like an inner critic can be like a really intense inner critic, can be like a firefighter. And then there's like managers or protectors, and they're just like, our more proactive parts trying to maybe like keep things together or make sure things work out in a certain way. And they can be kind of controlling. And, they are more extreme based on things that have happened in our lives. And then
Mm,
there's like the kind of inner child category, and those are called the exiles. And those are like the younger, tender parts. And so we're just in the game with the IFS about healing our relationship to these parts because they all have good intentions, right? There's always a good intention if you look for it. Is it effective in life? Right. That's where the relationship work comes in, right? But we need to appreciate them first, like really love them up for the jobs that they've been trying to do and what they've thought that they had to keep doing. Bring them love, we bring them appreciation, and then we offer them the opportunity to try something different.
mm, I love that. That's something where I don't know if you come across this, but the difference in I work with people on this. I've done it myself, and it's like it's so different because a lot of the time people come from like, well, what's wrong with me? Judgment. I just want these things to go away. Like, this is a bad thing. And the shift into, well, how is this actually trying to help me? Or how has it helped me in the past? Because, again, as I said before, like, we wouldn't do things if we didn't feel like if it was worth it in some way. And the figuring out, the curiosity in, well, how has this helped me in the past? Or how is this trying to help me? That creates so much more compassion, so much more understanding. And I love what you said in like thanking that part of you for doing the work that they're, trying to protect you or serve you. And it's like, thank you. Also, I'm just like, this isn't working for me right now. So I'm gonna do something differently.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing that you're naming, right? These like it's kind of like a polarization, they call it, like inside of ourselves. It's like, okay, I have this part of me that doesn't want to exercise, and then I have the part of me that hates that part of me that doesn't want to exercise. Right?
Yeah,
And so then we're in this like internal fight inside of ourselves, and it kind of keeps those parts stuck in place.
yeah.
right? And so can we address like why don't you like the part of you that doesn't want to exercise? Okay. Are you willing to give a little bit of space so we can just get to know this one? And then we can like it's like, okay, fine. I'll sit over here. Like we actually ask the part to like take a seat, and be with it. And so then maybe they can hear each other and listen to each other. And then it just eases some of that inner tension and constriction so that there's more space.
Mhm. Oh, and we love choice. We love choice. Yes.
Like I heard this like really simplified kind of, definition of like healing trauma is restoration of choice. And I'm like, yes, big T, little T,
Oh,
whatever. Like,
yeah, I
I love
love that.
right? When we're in a trauma response or some kind of like old pattern, it's like, I have to do it this way. Like, I have to, like, this is my reaction to the moment.
Mhm.
Like, I have to defend myself in a relationship. And then if we get to know, to attune to that defensive part inside of us, how is it trying to protect us? And what's the inner child, the exiled part that's like feeling, oh, like I'm bad underneath or whatever. Once we can work with those, we get choice back. It's so good.
Oh my god. That's been, like that's something that I continue to return to whenever I'm feeling kinda stuck, is I'm like, what are my choices here? Because if I feel like I only have 1 or even 2 choices, like, that's not me in choice. That's so, I talk about all or nothing with a lot of my people, and it's like, those 2 the all or the nothing, those are your kind of autopilots, and there's so much in between. And the all or the nothing, like, have served you for some reason in the past, and moving forward, you know that those aren't your only choices and probably not your best choices. So what other choices do you have? My god, such a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah, the black and white kind of thinking, all or nothing, like that shows up in the relationship space sometimes when one partner has that part and it feels really like limiting and bad to the other person. And, it kind of reminds me there's this process in IFS like around like updating the parts that there is a different way. Like, where did they learn that? Right? Like, where did you is this something you are inheriting from your family of origin? Or like, how is it trying to help you, this black or white thinking?
Uh-huh.
And what would it be like? Like, just to make the invitation, what would it be like to be in the gray?
Right.
Ooh, the gray. Really
Yeah.
uncomfortable for some people. Yeah.
What do you talk about discomfort with people you work with? Because that's like a new space and a new feeling for so many people when they make change in an area, and it's like, for me, when it's like the immediate reaction is like, "I don't wanna be here, I don't wanna be here," and I'm like, that's when you pause and that's when you allow yourself to be, but I'd love to hear how you support people in that.
I mean, kind of what I think you were saying is just like slowing that moment down, right? Like if something starts to come up and it's like, oh, this is really uncomfortable, like, can we slow it down? Can you ask that part of you that's feeling like, right? It's either like the part that's having the feeling or a part that's like, no, this is not okay, right? Like to to really understand like which one of them needs attention, right? Is it the one that's scared of the discomfort or is it the discomfort itself, right? So it's like we're trying to unblend those so that we can actually bring attention where it needs to come. Do they know that yourself is here with them, right? And that they are not holding this alone? And there is a big consent piece, like, around moving slowly. Like, we don't need to dive into discomfort and feel it all today and cathartic and da, da, da. It's like, how much of this feels good to feel right now? And if it's too much, can we directly, like, inside of yourself, I'll say this to people, like, can you ask that part to dial it down a little bit? And they do.
Mm.
Right? These parts can right? When you say, I really wanna understand you, ask this part to dial it down so that you can understand better what it's trying to fill you in on. Like, they wanna be heard, the parts of
Yeah.
us. They want us to get them, that inner attunement. So, we just kind of try to move at the pace somebody is available for
Mm.
and build capacity slowly.
Yeah, building capacity is so key, so key. Slowing down is something that when I look back at my own life, I'm like, "Uh-oh," because I never slowed down. It was just like go, 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 and that's actually a huge indicator to me now of why I need to slow down. I'm like, "Oh, there's," and I also know myself where I'm like, "Oh, I get very clumsy and I bump into things and I drop things and like my in my body, my breath is like up in my chest and my shoulders are on my ears." So like these are things that I learned about myself where it's like, I'm not operating in like the most supportive space right now. Slow down. And slowing down felt dangerous to me in the past.
I feel you. I'm right there. I'm like on the edge of my seat, remembering those moments where I was like, I think I'm living with my foot on the gas and on the brakes at the same time. And like my nervous system is on fight or
Oh
flight
my god.
24/7. And unwinding that
Oh
is,
my gosh. Yeah. It's so like funny to me where I look back on my life because I remember very vividly being like, I'm doing all the things. Like, why am I not, like, and then I look back and I'm like, duh, Meryl. Like, you were stuck in like this upregulated state. You had very little capacity. You had very little emotional intelligence. Like I just didn't have skills and tools that I didn't know that I was missing. And I'm so thankful and grateful for myself for like, again, this was a large journey, but like being able to be like open. I think that was the thing for me, was just being open to learning and then being continuing to being open to learning. If I was gonna, like, nutshell everything for myself. Open to learning things
yeah. I
and
mean,
curious.
right? Like whenever you realize, like, okay, maybe I'm living in this upregulated state, like all those things that you had done before, and you're like, why isn't it working? You had to do all of those things so that this piece would drop in, right? And like, we
Yep.
don't know when the pieces are dropping in, right?
No.
We got more pieces coming down the pipe, you and I both, I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
And like, we'll just keep doing all the things and it'll come in, and then we'll be like, "Oh, I needed that. I needed." It's probably like I feel like the message to slow down just, like, keeps coming again and again and
Oh,
again
yeah.
now, right? This is what it.
Always. I often tell my clients they're probably sick of me saying this, but, like, the, like, pause and just take a deep breath and, like, root yourself in yourself, connect with yourself is so powerful, and it really can change the momentum of everything. But, like, doing that and just it can take 10 seconds or less. But it's like, oh my god, I'm like when people say, like, "Take a deep breath," I'm like, "No, but, like, really?" But really do it and be in it.
Yeah, yeah. Coming back to the present, just slowing down is such an art form, and yeah, and I think we're fighting the culture in a certain way, right? Like, you know?
Eh,
So
constantly. Yeah, society is not set up, especially in the United States, for us to to slow down, for us to disconnect. It's getting, like, more and more, we don't have to deep dive into that, but it's just it's not set up for us to be in that way, so it takes that much more effort to do it, and, again, it's, like, figuring out that it's worth it to slow down and that you're not gonna be behind and that it's not lazy. I know, like, millennials are like, "But that's lazy, and I need to be productive," and I'm like, "No, slowing down is productive."
really, it really is. I mean, just try it for a month, like, just for 1 month. Just, like, slow your inner tempo down and see what happens, like, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So you said I think a lot of people would be familiar with at least the term of inner child parts, but maybe not dive into it, but I think that this work is so interesting in how it comes up for people, so can you just talk a little bit about that?
So, you know, there's not really, like, an objective in internal family systems, like, there's not like, "Okay, you're" but some people, right, like, the deep her kind of there's a lot of healing in just working with our protectors and our firefighters and our managers, but the thing that's driving these parts underneath is oftentimes these exiled parts, like the inner child parts, right? That are carrying what they would call a burden from the past, right? And so maybe it's the kid that felt stupid in school, right? Felt like they couldn't keep up and they, felt like they were defective, or a part that didn't feel seen or felt unloved or neglected, abandoned, right? Like some of these are real experiences that people have, like traumatic family of origin. Some of them are experiences that like developed, like it was just their experience. They felt maybe the person was right there, but they had this feeling of being abandoned. It doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
Like the thing is, it's the truth of that part of you. Well, when we ask the protective parts what they're scared would happen if you slow down, right? What are you concerned would happen, right? Oh, I'd be behind and I'd be insignificant and unworthy, right? Like that's an exile part. It's a young part of us, right? Okay, how old is that part? She's 7. She, got a C on her report card, whatever. And she's carrying this burden, this feeling, this identity piece, right? About who she is and how that connects her to the world or what she's worth. And, the work, so much of this is about connecting this like higher self, this energy, this wise, loving kind of inner parent to these little ones and letting them know like, okay, do you, this burden that you're carrying, like, can I be with you, attune with you, find out like there's this big witnessing piece of like really understanding where that comes from. And then do you want to let that go? Right?
Mhm.
Do you wanna what would it be like to let that go? We do this kind of like unburdening process. It's kind of like this inner shamanic ritual of like you can bury it down in the ground, like pull it all out of your body, all that energy, bury it in the ground. Like, and then inviting in, like, what would it feel like to feel self acceptance or like you're enough? Like, I'm downloading enoughness, like people come up with the most interesting things when you just like let them, kind of hold the scaffolding and
Yeah.
let their creativity and their heart kind of come through. Yeah, so we just like move really slow and kind of be with those inner children. And sometimes they don't want to talk to us or they don't trust us yet. And that's cool. That's fine. No problem. Like we're going to come back and just keep building those bridges. And sometimes those inner children are actually like stuck in a part of our memory, right? Like kids in the bedroom and like doesn't want to be there anymore. She wants to move to a secret garden in the forest. She wants to come into the present and like be with me, right? And we're like it's weird, right? It's like kind of esoteric.
Yeah.
Inner child work, I mean, that's the deal, right? It's like we're working who knows how this works with, like, the limbic system, the emotional brain, and, like, reprocessing these energies.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know that my lived experience is it worked for me. It works for me. So and it works for other people, so, yeah. So that's kind of like a glimpse into, um how that work might unfold, what the intention is of it, like how we can, because those parts don't really have jobs, the inner child part, they're just like being
Mhm.
themselves, but then they're burdened by these beliefs and feelings that they got from their environment. So can we liberate those because they have gifts for us too, which is the other part. It's like they are our, most magical, free essence.
Mm.
Besides the self energy is like the witnessing consciousness. The inner children are like our liberation, our freedom, our expression, you know, our ability to trust and connection.
Mm.
And, this is where people kind of start to get tricky in relationships is that people want their partner to be the one who comes and like really sees me. I want them to really see me. I wasn't seen as a child and then it ends up backfiring. Like the partner, for whatever reason, like a lot of the time, they're, because of their history, like we choose the perfect person who really just like complements in the most tricky way our parts. And that's why I love this combination of like, okay, if I can do my own inner child healing work and not put that on you to do that, it's going to go a lot better. They can still be a part of it and they
Yeah.
can practice like expanding their capacity to be a good listener and see you and have compassion for you. But if you can give that to yourself first and not put it all on them, it's much better. Much better idea.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I have witnessed this, I've done this, and I've talked to people who work with couples, and it's like, if you don't work on yourself, your relationship is like, it's not gonna go as far as you want it to go. You gotta work on yourself first. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I said that in, like, such a blah way
No,
because
no. I mean, I applaud you back. Like I'm like, yeah, I think so too. Like I'm because
it's
that's
work. Like, I never sweep that under the rug is like, it's work. And also, there's a reason why people keep coming back to this work and talk about it because it's, again, it's worth it. And I think learning about yourself and connection, like connection with yourself, being able to connect with others, trusting yourself more, learning what you're capable of, I think that's like the coolest shit.
shit.
Cool shit.
It is. Inner trust, man, like feeling safe inside yourself, feeling like you can trust your instincts, like and this is the thing, like I got mixed up for a long time. Like, what is my intuition and my instincts and my parts? It's like, and slowing down, right? To like
Mhm.
the part of me that needs to figure it out, right? Oh, that's a part that shows up a lot with people is like that brainy intellectual, like, okay, can I just like figure out how to, it's like, slow down. Can you come into your body, right? Can we like listen to all these parts? And can we just like leave some space to not even like try to figure out the truth or even hear the truth? Like, just, it comes when it comes. Don't try and
Mhm.
figure it out,
Mm, yeah.
I think. And
Yeah.
to trust that life will even if we make the wrong choice, we're gonna get rerouted back to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's something that I talk about with people who often get kind of stuck in freeze with choices because they don't wanna make the wrong choice. Um, and it's like, there are no wrong choices. They're just choices, and, like, you're gonna find out information from it, and when you can build that trust that, like, you know what, this may lead to something that doesn't feel great for you, or this may lead to something that you wish was different or whatever, but then you know that, and then you have more information to make even more choices and do things differently as you move forward, and then it's like, "Oh, you know what, that feels a little more safe." It feels a little bit more like, "Okay, I can do that."
So much. One of my favorite, like, pieces of business advice I heard was from I think it's from Marie Forleo. It was like, "Clarity comes through engagement."
Mm,
And just like you're gonna get clear, you're gonna learn something, you're gonna fall on your face and have an opportunity to make peace with your inner child. You're gonna whatever, who knows? Who
yeah.
knows how this is gonna but you there's no perfect.
No, no, and engagement is necessary, it's true. I love that. I love that.
It's basically what
But
you said, yeah.
I love different ways of saying things. Um, so you talked about relationships a little bit, and I'd love to dig into that as well, where you said you work with, like, individuals and couples, correct?
Mhm, yeah. Yeah.
When you're working with couples who want to strengthen their relationship for, I'm sure, various reasons, what are some things that you feel like or you see are kind of the big blockers? I would love to also talk about maybe like communication or just advice you have so people can deepen their connection, ways to interact with each other. There's no actual question here, Bahia. I'm just gonna I'm
What
like
your
vomiting
brain is
my
moving
thoughts.
in 7 directions. It's great. That's great. One thing that shows up pretty consistently, right, is like our partners do things differently than us. They think differently than us. And how is it for you that your partner has a different way? Right? Because a lot of people wish their partners were just like them. And they thought the same way and they felt the same way and they wanted the same thing and they don't. Right? And so, like, there can be a lot of friction and competing needs that happen, and communication, right? Can we, like, actually slow down again, right? To, like, listen to the different parts of each person, right? Like, what are the needs and the hopes and the differences? And if we have parts that are, judging our partner for the way that they do things, that's gonna create that kind of, I was talking about it within a person, right? The part that wants to work out and then the part that's judging the part that doesn't wanna work out. But if we're in a partnership where there's, like, someone who cleans the house a certain way and the other person judges that restriction in their relationship, and learning how to, work through those pieces together, right? To speak for our needs, to listen to what really matters to them underneath that judgment, right? Like all of these parts that show up in relationship, frustration, resentment, you know, nagging, a nagging part, whatever it is, they're all trying to unskillfully communicate something that's important to you. And so you gotta slow down, slow down, right? And listen, like, what is actually that part trying to get? And then can we speak for that instead of just doing the behavior that is not effective, right? By when I'm blaming my partner and saying, you always do this and you make me feel this way and it's your fault, they're not gonna be able to hear you.
Right.
They're gonna get
Defense.
offended. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems basic. It seems obvious, but I still do it sometimes. Like, I'm better and better all the time at catching it, but there are some younger parts that, especially like the moment before my period comes, right? Like, not so pretty. I'm not my highest self. Hormones are real. But that's when the repair kicks in, right? That's when the skill set of repair, right? There's like communication techniques, there's repair, and then there's self attunement. Right, and self-attunement is, like, being able to slow down and say, "Okay, when you said that, I made it mean something inside of me, and, like, you know, this is what comes up for me." Like, knowing ourselves, knowing what's being triggered or activated or what our needs are, you know, the self-attunement, being able to communicate well, because a lot of the time when people are listening, they're not really listening, they're, like, thinking about how they wanna respond, right?
Yeah.
And there's because parts of them, right? Come back to the parts. Like I'm listening to my partner talk about whether we should have another child. And in my mind, like there's a part of me that really wants one, and a part of me that's like make him stop talking so that he would hear mine. And part of me that maybe doesn't want one and still isn't sure, but I'm not really paying attention to him anymore. So
Mhm.
there's like this inner um command over your system, not like command over, but like to be able to say, we're going to get our turn. We're going to get our turn, all of you. I'm going to just focus on my partner right now. I'm going to really hear them. I'm going to mirror things back using their own words, right?
Mm.
And I'm going to like really be with them, and then when it's my turn, taking turns, right? Couples, like it can feel robotic to be like, it's your turn to talk and I'm going to reflect back until you're completely done, and then we're going to switch turns and then it's my turn. But some couples like actually need to practice taking turns. There's different,
Yeah.
you got to meet people where they're at, like at different different points.
Sure.
And repair is just, it's kind of everything, because repair is like personal accountability, which creates trust. You need
Mhm.
that. And then it's also like self-compassion. It's like really understanding the impact, which is like a skill we need in our world more. And start me.
Yeah.
And then there's like the possibility of creating something new together. It's like, okay, I
Mhm.
can see that when I do that, how it lands for you, the impact it has on you. Like, that's not who I want to be in partnership, right? Our integrity comes in. Like,
Mhm.
who I want to be in a partnership is someone who can, I don't know, not yell at you, like just something.
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
And, so the possibility, like, whether you wanna use that language, but, like, who I want what I wanna work on, what I wanna practice is, like, being able to slow down and, like, maybe take a pause before I respond. Like, maybe I actually need 10 minutes before I whatever the thing is. And this is where we get creative, and we have to, like, work with our partner to, like, how are we gonna do this different next time? Because I don't wanna do this same loop over and over, right?
Mm,
That's
yeah.
tiring.
It's exhausting. Yeah, exhausting. Mm. So, are you familiar with imago dialogue?
Yeah, I love Imago. I definitely use Imago.
I that was something my husband and I, a good friend of mine who is a therapist, she introduced that to us, and it felt so weird and robotic when we first did it, and now, like, it doesn't because we don't use that language per se anymore, but, like, just kind of having a, like, formula kind of, is really, really helpful when you're saying, like, listen to what your partner I wanna, like, set this up for the listener in, like, a formula kind of way. It's like, listen to what your partner is actually saying. You said mirror back in their language. So, do you direct people to say, like in Imago, it's like, "Alright, I'm hearing that you're saying."
In the
Okay.
beginning, I really do.
Yeah.
Can you mirror back as much as you can in their exact words?
Yeah. Because sometimes, I certainly have, I'd be like, "Interpret it differently." And they're
Yeah,
like, "No, that's not what I mean."
right. I'm hearing that you're saying you don't wanna do the laundry, but I actually really don't like doing the laundry, so I think right? We need to, like, start getting aware of the ways that we start adding in our opinions or shifting the conversation. It's like one direction first and then taking turns and switching, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Okay. Okay, I love that. So kind of like, "This is what I'm hearing that you're saying," and then it's like, "How this makes me feel," versus like, "You doing this, blah, blah, blah," which 100% will create defensiveness and you're not gonna get anywhere. It's like, "Hey, when you tell me that when you don't take out the trash and I ask you to, it makes me feel like you're not listening to me, and it makes me feel like blah, 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 blah." Is that kind of how you
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's like being able to speak in a way that is non-blaming and not accusatory, right? Like that's actually vulnerable and connected to our heart, right? And you can take it even further, right? Where it's like, and you don't take out the trash and that makes me feel, I forget what you said. Like you don't care, you're not listening, and, like, that actually, like, goes back further in my story, right? Because maybe this is an experience you've had before, and that's why it's so painful, right?
Mhm.
Oftentimes, they say in 12-step, right, in some rooms that if it's hysterical, it's historical, and that's
Mhm.
kind of how the parts work, like, if we're having a bigger reaction to something or more emotion, if there's more charge behind it, there's probably like an exile or like a part of us that is carrying and holding pain from a similar type situation. And that's the opportunity of these things shifting is like we can step into that vulnerability with our partner if they can hear it, right? If they're a safe enough person to like really receive that. Not that it's their job to fix it, but like we can bring in compassion and then some mindfulness around the thing.
Yeah.
Why
Oh,
not?
I love yeah, why not? Yes, I love it. I mean, yes, it takes 2 people that want wanna do the work together for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, in my experience, like, when my husband and I have had conversations like this, he's like, "Oh, well, that certainly wasn't my intention," and it's like, "Okay, well, that automatically feels, like, less hurtful," right? And then he is aware, and then he can do things differently. I can look at things differently, so it just creates, like, a lot more
Yes.
love.
Yeah, yeah. Love, workability,
Yeah,
like, mindfulness, care,
love
connection.
it. Yeah.
I think it's intimacy is the thing.
Yes, the umbrella term of yes, I love that.
Yeah, but I wanted to because you wanted to give a simple structure for the imago. My someone gave this to me, another IFS practitioner, Jen Kleiner. She, like, boiled it down to these 3 pieces, which is, mirror, validate, and empathize.
Mm,
Right? So, like, mirror back exactly what you're hearing them say. Okay, so you're saying you don't wanna be the one who has to walk the dog every day. Did I get that right? Is there more? Did I get that right? Is there more? Right? Like, let them get it all out. Oh, because it makes you feel like you have to rush in the morning. I'm hearing you say you feel like you have to rush. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Validate why this makes sense. You make sense, right? This makes sense. It makes sense that you don't want to have to rush every day, right?
Right.
And then empathize, like, that's like, and even if you can just do mirror and validate, like that's a good start for some people. And then if you can drop into empathy of like into your heart, into, caring and being there with them, like, yeah, that sounds stressful. That sounds hard. Like, I'm sorry that you've felt like you had to do this all on your own, right? Whatever it is. And then you can, maybe go to solutions. But sometimes people just want to go to solutions and like it makes such a difference to slow down. I think this is the theme of the
The
talk.
theme of the episode of everything. Slow
Everything.
Yes. I love that was such like I had a therapy session a few months ago where my therapist like, you don't have to have a solution at the end of every conversation, right? I was like, oh, damn it. But a huge like awareness point for me where I was like, oh, that's actually like the goal is not to have a solution at the end. It's like eventually, sure. And also what steps help get there. So how can we just like take steps instead? That was huge for
Yeah.
me.
I love that. And can we appreciate the part that wants to find a solution and its
Yes.
positive intention, right?
Yes.
Like, and also like maybe it can take a break.
Yes, yeah. That was definitely part of that for
Yeah.
me too. It's like this part of me which it just, like, pops up. It keeps popping up, and instead of being like, oh, which I that is my initial reaction, like, "Damn it, I'm doing it again," and it's like, "Okay, okay, I hear you," you know? Oh, I love it. Alright, so, um, I think at this point, I'm gonna put you in the hot seat and just, like, ask you some questions, and then we'll wrap up and um have people give people all your info so they can reach out to you. I love your website, by the way. I was looking through it and I was like, oh, this is great. From someone who has built their own website, I'm like, oh my God, this is great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It was actually this amazing company. They do like all sorts of yeah, I can tell you more about it another time. But
I would love that.
yeah. Yeah.
All right, Bahia, if you could outsource any task or chore forever, what would it be?
Cleaning.
With you. Go with you. Like, I wish that there was, like, a little being that could live in my house that just did that for
I
me.
mean, but I'll say I do like there's also a satisfaction. I just have to be in the mood, right? Like when I'm in the mood to clean, I actually get really into it, but it takes me like 10 hours. Like just it's like a spiritual journey cleaning my house. I'm like lighting incense and like but like I can't do that all the time.
No, I know, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, and I do appreciate those times, and they're also few and far between for me these days. What is one of your biggest pet peeves?
I really don't like to be rushed.
Mm.
I really don't like to be rushed. There's a part of me that really doesn't like to be rushed. She's like 5 years old and she's still like, "Stop rushing me."
Oh, that's a good one. What's something younger you would be proud of and embarrassed by? Separate things. Maybe the same, but separate things is okay too.
I think this is tricky. I think that younger me would be proud of my like, the life that I've built, right? Like, I know she is, and there's just so many, like, beautiful facets of my life. I'm so grateful for yeah, what I've created and also, like, the privilege I have that has allowed me to create these like, there's it's complex, but, um, And also, like, being an entrepreneur in the sense that, like, I had my first business in 5th grade. I was, like, wrapping pencils with, like, embroidery thread and selling them to
Uh,
the kids. Like, there's something inside of me, and, like, I had this ledger where I would, like, keep the track of, like, how much money was going in and out. Like, there's, like, just that part of me that's, like, likes owning a business.
yeah,
And the fact that it gets to be this, like, magical healing arts business that's, like, has a purpose and is good for the world, I think she's, like, stoked about that.
yeah.
And what would she be embarrassed about? I mean, I gotta have something. I
This is
really
probably
wanna have
I
something.
know, like, this is probably tricky for you because you're like, "No, there's just a part of me that"
I don't know. I don't got anything.
It's okay. I always
Okay.
think about, like well, I think about because my mom used to do this, and I was so embarrassed by it, where she would just, like, dance in the grocery store, and I'd be like, oh, but I do that now, and I'm like, "Oh, my younger self would be so embarrassed," but, like, I freaking love that, so
Yeah. Yeah. I think my younger self would be totally down with dancing in the grocery store with me.
yeah, I remember you being, like, very much more free-spirited and, like, allowance of yourself than I was at that age, so good for you.
Appreciate that reflection. I don't always think of myself back then that way, but thank you.
I know. Um, we've said maybe something you'll say in this a lot, but what's a skill you think everyone would benefit from, but not many people have?
I think the skill would be repair,
Mm.
like really having a structure to take accountability and not beat themselves up or avoid it, but to be able to be head on with the people that they love or care about to grow together.
Whew, I'm just like, wow, the world would be a better place for
Come on,
sure.
let's do it. We're doing it. We're
Yeah,
setting sowing the seeds, baby. We're
that's
sowing the seeds.
that's what I say all the time when I feel like I'm like fighting an uphill battle. I'm like, no, this is work. This is meaningful work. um, What would you do, like or what do you do if you're feeling like you're in a funk? What do you do to turn that around for yourself?
My first thought was wait until I get my period. Like, you just gotta go with the first thought. Yeah, try to take the pressure off, try to, what do I do? Take a shower, take a bath, phone a friend. Yeah, the
Well,
funks happen.
oh, yeah. Yeah, they do. We're humans. So, 2 more. What's something you're working on right now that is challenging to you, and why is it important?
I think the piece that I mentioned earlier around scarcity is really, um, kind of a growing edge because it's not just like scarcity around money or anything like that, but just like where are the ways that I believe um, that me having means someone else doesn't have, or like, you know, just kind of examining. And this is actually like a broader topic because it actually kind of dips into like race and whiteness and privilege and like patriarchy and like deconstructing like all these different systems. And this is like I'm just dipping my toe into understanding like more and more about what it means to be a white or person living white woman living in this world, like heteronormative, able-bodied. Like, there was a period where I was like, "I don't understand what the deal is with all these identities." Like, I just couldn't connect to that other people are just having a different experience, and it's really important and valuable to take that into account
Mhm.
and to really, like, open my mind to that and, like, what do I do with that, right? Like, white the white blindness, I don't know if that's what it's called, but I've been, like, moving towards that for a few years now, and now I feel like I'm just starting to be like, "Okay, where does, like how do I deal with this in my life, and how do I deal with this in my work, and how do I deal with this out in the world?" Like, how do I So, I know this is just a hot seat, but
Oh, that's certainly challenging and important. So,
yeah, yeah, not figuring out, but, like, slowing down to listen to what is being asked. Like, the more and more I contemplate my oneness with all of life and Mother Earth and animals and the people and all of it, I'm just like, I have to listen wider. I have to listen more deeply wider, and, like, there is, yeah, a capacity issue, right? Like, especially as a mother, right? Like, my kid is 4 now, and I feel like motherhood, which you will experience yourself, right? Like, it really changes our capacity in different ways for a different period of time, right? Like, when babies are babies, we just, like, have to be right there. And it's so grounding to the present moment. But I'm starting to get more and more space as my child gets older, and I'm, like, looking at the world more and more differently. So, yeah. So it's like scarcity, it's guilt, it's privilege, it's
a lot of
bigger
important
question.
things.
And it's I'm so grateful that I get to think about those because I'm not swimming in my own shit as much,
Yeah, yeah,
because of the work and just putting one foot in front of the other. So, yeah, bigger questions.
yeah.
I
Well,
don't know how to answer
no,
things
I love
simply.
that answer. It was great, and I'm like, oh, my mind is just like thinking more into it. We'll have to dot that conversation for sure. So, all right, last question is, what does doing cool shit mean to you?
I think it means, like, it's our thriving, right? It's like, and whatever that means, right? When I was like, just put your feet on the floor, right? Like, putting my feet on the floor was as thriving as I could get.
Mm,
But now thriving is like, oh, I just moved into a house. I've never had a house before. And I'm like, oh, I could have a garden. Like, that's cool.
mhm,
That's cool shit. Like, anything that, like, brings me into the present and feels like a creative expression and, is the best I've got. Like, that's cool. And even if the best I've got is, like, I need to crawl back into bed and take a nap, that's cool too. So it's just like, I think it's like listening to the creative impulse of life, listening to my truth,
mm,
moment to moment. Like, that's the coolest shit
yeah,
that there is for
yeah,
me. And maybe
yeah.
that's, like, not I have a part that's like, "This is not the right answer. I am answering these questions wrong." But I'm gonna ask for some space from that one and just let it be. There it is.
There's no there's no one answer. There's no one right answer. So I love that. Yeah, I know. All right, my friend. So plug yourself. Where can people connect with you, find you, potentially work with you?
Yeah, yeah, my website is bahiamiller.com, BAHIA Miller.com, tricky name, and, my Instagram is the same, at Bahia Miller, and yeah, I have the unblending meditation if you're curious about kind of like getting to know a part of you. I really designed that meditation for somebody who's like activated at their partner, like just had a breakdown with their partner and they're like in it and they want to like get to know that part. You can use it for anything. It's actually on the Insight Timer too, but if you go
Okay.
to my website and get it there, then you'll get on the mailing list. And I also have a podcast. It's called Self-Led Love, and it's all about like maturing in relationship and the human and spiritual journey of growing an intimate partnership. And yeah, you can find me there. And that's the deal.
Love it. Yeah, and I'll link all of those in the show notes too, just to make it even easier for people
Why not? Why not?
and make people's lives a little bit easier. I will do it. So I'll definitely link all of those, including the meditations. Yeah, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Bahia, for being here. This was such a great conversation. And we didn't really know where it was going to go, but those are my favorite kind of
And
conversations.
I feel like we speak such a similar language, or we're speaking the same language. And yeah, it's really fun to connect with you in this
Yeah,
way, in this moment.
yes. Me
Yeah.
too. Me too. And I'm looking forward to more connection in the future. Again, thank you for being here. Talking. All right. Bye, guys. Until next time.